Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon. I was just going to ask about the toll group that was selected in November of 2023 by the Department of Home Affairs to deliver assisted passage, medical and related services for Australia's offshore humanitarian program.
We'll just get the right officers to the table,
No worries,
Senator.
that's fine.
So he was on my left. I didn't see him. Sorry, Senator.
That's okay. Thank you. So I was just curious, what was the selection criteria that the department went through to choose Toll as their contractor for the refugee transition?
Yep, thank you, Senator. We went through a full request for tender process in accordance with Commonwealth procurement rules to undertake this process.
And what functions are Toll responsible for under this contract?
So as you stated, the Assisted Passage Program provides travel, medical and related services globally for Australia's refugee and humanitarian program.
Has an evaluation of Toll's performance since taking up the contract been completed or commissioned by the department?
So Toll began operations on the 1st of November last year. Given the complexities of the services that are provided under the Assisted Passage Program and the locations around the world where these services are provided, we've gone through quite the transition process. That transition process concluded on the 30th of September. So in answer to your question, no, we have not yet undertaken an assessment.
And can you elaborate on what locations they've been involved in? Or?
I don't have the full details of every location around the world, but essentially where we where we grant visas to refugee and humanitarian entrants, that's where Toll would need to provide those services to support their medical and then travel to Australia.
Would you be able to tell how many refugees Toll has processed since the contract took effect?
I don't have the details on me of how many arrivals Toll has facilitated.
No worries. And what metrics is the department using to determine the success or shortcomings of Toll's work?
Again, there's a range of metrics and key performance indicators in the contract with Toll, and we'll be using those over the life of the contract to measure their performance.
Will you be able to provide that on notice?
I'm happy to take on notice, noting it's a commercial agreement, what we can provide.
Of course. No worries. Okay, and so last month, I know this secretary has popped out, but it's about, my next line of questioning is about the developments in and around Afghanistan. Last month, reports from Iranian human rights group Halvesh suggested that between 200 to 300 Afghans had been killed by Iranian border guards. And in July, a young Afghan woman who was being held in a Taliban jail for protesting was reported to have been filmed being raped by guards. I just wanted to know how concerned is the department regarding these developments?
They're deeply concerning allegations, yes.
Has there been any movements in terms of humanitarian visas being granted? And can you outline how many since the Taliban's takeover in 2021?
Yeah, happy to. So since the fall of Kabul, so the period 15 August 2021 to 18 October 2024, 22,546 offshore humanitarian visas have been granted. Over that same period, 61,553 applications have been lodged, covering over 272,000 individuals. And of the total offshore humanitarian applicants currently on hand, Afghan nationals make up 62.1% of the total on-hand caseload. The government committed to continuing to support Afghans through the humanitarian program, and the department's delivered those numbers in full over the last few years.
Thank you. And Minister, does the government intend to expand that visa program in the near future?
Well, I think you'll remember, Senator, that the government did expand the humanitarian program in general. I'm not aware of any further plans at this point in time.
For Afghanistan?
Correct.
Yeah, thank you.
If I'm wrong about that, I can update the
No
committee.
worries. Thank you, Minister. just finally, the Asylum Seeker Resource Centre reported last month that the majority of people held in closed detention on Nauru have recently been moved into the community, with many now struggling to afford 3 meals a day, clothing, drinking water and basic necessities. People in the community are allocated just $230 per fortnight to survive on. Has the government or the department heard reports that this allowance is not enough for people to survive on, and is there any consideration to increase the allowance?
Thank you, Senator. I'll ask Mr Feld to answer that question.
Thank you.
Senator, my name is Joe Feld. I'm the Acting First Assistant Secretary for Regional Processing. Yes, the department is aware of the media reporting. There are a range of services provided to transferees currently living in the community on Nauru. They are provided by the Government of Nauru in accordance with the regional processing arrangements. They include a number of welfare services, health services, and other sort of general activities to support the arrangements, the accommodation. There is no cost to the transferee for the accommodation arrangements for people on Nauru. That is all covered under the arrangement. And of course then there is the stipend you mentioned, which is assessed and determined in line with living standards on Nauru, and is appropriate to the circumstances to support people in that environment.
Thank you. People seeking asylum held in the community on Nauru are reporting that only those found to be refugees have eligibility for work rights. What is the rationale for this decision, and what support will people be given to ensure they can meet their basic needs if they don't have any working rights?
So, Senator, Mr Feld can correct me if I'm wrong, but if people are found not to be refugees, then I think the Government of Nauru would then take action to return them or remove them to a third country.
Okay, so the department is looking at transferring people to a third country settlement options for people who don't qualify as a refugee?
So as you mentioned, if someone is found to be owed protection, then generally by that stage they are living in the community, of course, which they would have access to those services I mentioned, but also in addition have work rights. And we already understand that those people living in the community who are owed protection have sought work and are currently employed. For those people who are still going through their refugee status determination process, particularly those who might have had an initial negative hand down around that refugee status determination process, then they will be given the same services and support that is available to every transferee living in the community, but with the absence of work rights. And as the Secretary said, if a person is been found finally determined to not be owed protection, then the Government of Nauru would make arrangements for that person to either return home or find some other durable solution for them.
And that durable solution is a settlement in a third country?
That would be determined on a case-by-case basis, Senator.
Okay, no worries. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Senator Payman. Senator Pocock.